Hey guys, Samia here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I am taking you into a screen recording of how to use Lightroom for beginners. So I'm gonna get right into it. Let me make myself smaller. Okay, so the first thing I just wanna show you briefly is how this is set up on my hard drive. So for each wedding that I photograph, so what I do is I separate each wedding into folders. So wedding with Allura, I usually name it after the bride. So when you go into the folder, or this is the same for photo shoots, you'll see all of this. Let's delete this for a second. Delete all of this. Sorry, you'll see all this these are the raw files of the shoot that I did. And then I will import these into Photo Mechanic, cull them, and then put those culled photos into selected photos. And then from there in Lightroom, which I'll show you, I separate the selected photos into different parts of the wedding day. So let's go into creating a catalog. So if I go down here, I'm gonna open up Lightroom, just by clicking the Lightroom on my computer. And what I'll do is I'm gonna hit, this is opening a recent catalog, but I'm gonna show you, I make a new catalog of Lightroom for each photo shoot. So I hit File, New Catalog, and let's just name this Sample for YouTube Video. Actually, let me make it Wedding with Sarah, just to show you how it actually looks. So Wedding with Sarah is probably the name of that folder on my hard drive that has all the photos in it. So actually I'm gonna name this LR, Wedding with Sarah LR, Lightroom. So this is gonna tell me that it's the Lightroom folder. So I will hit create, skip the backup, okay, and then it will open up a new catalog for me. So the reason I'm making new catalogs for each wedding is because I only want the photos from that wedding or that photo shoot in my catalog. It just helps me stay organized, and it really helps me because I'm going to be dividing all these photos into separate collections for the bride and groom. So you'll see that this is a new catalog with 0 photos, but what happens is, even though it's a new catalog, all my presets and stuff will still be over here. You can't see them right now because there's no photos in here, but everything will be the same and synced in Lightroom, except for the fact that this catalog only has my photos. So if you go into, let's go into my hard drive here, you'll see that this says Wedding with Sarah Lightroom. This is what we just made. So for example, for a wedding like Allura's wedding here, I had Wedding with Allura, which has all those raw selected and exported photos, and then I have Wedding with Allura Lightroom. So each wedding has 2 folders on my hard drive, the Lightroom folder and the photo storage folder. So let's go into a actual Lightroom catalog. So you notice it'll close that catalog and open up this one. Okay. So now that we're in a catalog, I'm going to show you how things move around in here. So the first tab over here is the Lightroom tab. I'm sorry, is the library tab. Okay, so there's library and develop. These are the only 2 tabs that I use. The rest of these I don't use, and they're not really needed. So here in the library tab, this is where you're going to be importing and exporting photos. So it's really moving files around, and develop is where you'll be editing photos. So in this library tab, we will first go in and hit import. And what I'll do is I will hit go over here to where the photos are on the hard drive. So with Wedding with Allura, I've already culled them and put them into selected 1, 2, and 3. So I'll be importing all these selected folders from what I had in Photo Mechanic. And then this is important up here, so you can do all these different things. Copy will make a duplicate file inside Lightroom. It'll be doubling the storage that you are storing. So if you're shooting in RAW, that's going to be doubling all that storage. So you don't want to hit copy, and if you move them, that's how things get super confusing, and you're moving your files from that folder into Lightroom and they don't exist in that folder anymore. So what I do is I keep it on add, which means I'm adding a version of the photo here to be edited, but the actual source of that photo is in the selected card. So I'm not taking this source out of selected, I'm just kind of making a scraped version inside Lightroom to edit the photo, and then when I go to export it, it will pull on the source of photo in the selected card folder. So it's not doubling my storage if I hit add. Okay, so these are not popping up because I've already added them, but if, for example, I went into raw card 2 and actually went into one of the folders, you'll see these are the photos that I did not select as being culled. So I could, take one of these. So let me just take one, pretend I actually want this photo, and hit import over here. and it will import file at their current location. So see how that said that? That means it's staying where it was. So then once you import a photo, I will import all the photos here. I'm still in library. I will then select a photo and start organizing them into collections before I start editing. So this is helpful so that you don't feel overwhelmed when you're editing. So what I'll do here is just click on the photo and then come down to collections, add. You want to hit create collection, not create smart collection. Smart collection is gonna take all the photos in that you imported. So create collection, and you can just name it. Let's name it 11 YouTube. And I always put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like you'll see down here, 7, 8, because it will just organize them in random order if you don't put a number. So I put 11 YouTube. See how that put that there. Okay, so then if I were, I'll just show you some basics about these things. If I were to delete this, see how it's gone? It's actually still in the catalog, it's just not in the collection. So if I hit previous import, it still exists in here. It just deleted it from the collection, and that makes it easy for me to like put it here and then add it to a different one. So you can add things to multiple places here. Collection's just kind of like a way to organize the files. You're not deleting or really adding anything to the catalog. Okay. So that's the basics of the importing part. So let me go into the develop part. Okay, so let's talk about this develop part. So when you go over into develop, you are now in the editing side, not the importing exporting part of Lightroom. So now I usually go start from the top and just edit 2 or 3 parts of a wedding day in one sitting. So let's go here. I'm just gonna show you the basics of editing this. So this is already edited, but let's hit reset just for this purpose. So basics of this develop tab is that first of all, your presets are over here on the left, and I don't really use anything else other than preset and to see which collection I'm in. So if you hit presets, my preset that I'm using lately is called Maybe 4. This is me just making new presets over the years. So I usually use this, and then you can tweak it by photo over here in this tab. So over here you'll have the basic, tonal curve, HSL or color, split toning, detail, and transform, all these things and effects. So all of this is like more extensive editing. So usually I'll go into basic and tweak, you know, how bright it is, how dark it is, those things. And then I'll often do saturation, vibrance, all those things. So you can make this photo look a lot different depending on how you want to edit it. So that's the basics of that. And then I also want to show you how to sync. So let's say I hit this preset, and then I wanted to make it a little bit brighter. And then I wanted to match this photo, this editing to all these photos. So I would hold down shift and select photo number 7. So see how all these are selected? If I hit sync, I can decide what I'm gonna sync. So it's gonna take the photos from the editing from the very first photo in this group and copy them to all the other photos. So let's say I wanted to sync everything about this editing. I'll hit synchronize, and you'll see that it just did that to all these photos. So it only really works when you're in the exact same lighting situation. So, you know, you can play with that, but basically you see how here I was shooting at direct sun, and then here it's kind of like halfway backlit. This lighting is way too overexposed now, so I have to bring this down. So it really only works like in situations like this over here, where this is already edited, but like if I wanted to sync this to all these detail photos, it'd be easier and faster to edit. So you can just start syncing things. Okay, and then another basic thing I wanted to show you about Lightroom is as I'm editing, I will actually, you see these 5-star things down here, I will hit the number 5, and I can set, that means I'm putting this photo 5 as a rating of 5. So as I'm editing, I'll rate photos up to 5. And then when you're done, you can get out of this collection, go to all photographs, and I will hit 5. And these are my favorite photos from this wedding, so I'll use these for a blog post. So, okay, so that's basically how that works. And then the next thing I want to show you is the exporting part. So once you are done editing, what I will do is I will go back into the library, and I will go into each collection, and what I'll do is I'll hit Command A, so you're highlighting everything in this collection, and export. So what you can do here is decide where you're exporting this to. So we would be putting this in, I always choose the same folder where the weddings files already are, just to keep it organized. So here I'm in my hard drive. This is called Wedding with Allura Lightroom. So remember, I'm looking for the folder Wedding with Allura here with all, this has already been exported, that's why you see this, but with all the photos. So let's choose here, and then I'm actually gonna make the folder it's going in from here. So put in subfolder, I already wrote it, but sample, we'll put hello, this is the folder made from inside Lightroom. I don't know if it's gonna let me write that long of a title, but we'll keep going. Okay, so I'm gonna select to put it in there, and I can custom text to, I'm usually my business name, start number 1, quality 100, and then these are my export settings for photo printing purposes. And I'm gonna actually cancel this real quick. Oh, oops. I'm just gonna export one photo so that I don't blow up my hard drive with so many files. So, hello, let's name it hello. And I'm just gonna export this one photo to show you how it works. So export, and it will pop up here. I already exported it there. So I'll go into my folder, my passport, Wedding with Allura. See how it says hello, and it has the one photo that I selected. So that's pretty much how Lightroom works. This is the basics of Library Develop tab. Let me know in the comments if this was helpful, and if you haven't, make sure to subscribe because I come out with 2 new videos every week. I'm also on Instagram if you guys want to follow along on Instagram as well. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you here later on YouTube. Bye.